Our gospel today comes from the Gospel of Luke, the 6th chapter. Jesus came down with them and stood on a level place with a great crowd of his disciples and a great multitude of people from all Judea, Jerusalem, and the coast of Tyre and Sidon. They had come to hear him and to be healed of their diseases. And those who were troubled with unclean spirits were cured. And all in the crowd were trying to touch him, for power came out from him and healed all of them. Then Jesus looked up at his disciples and said, "Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who are hungry now, for you will be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you and when they exclude you, revile you, and defame you on account of the Son of Man. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for surely your reward is great in heaven, for that is what their ancestors did to the prophets. But woe to you who are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe to you who are full now, for you will be hungry. Woe to you who are laughing now, for you will mourn and weep. Woe to you when all speak well of you, for that is what their ancestors did to the false prophets." This is the gospel of the Lord. You may be seated. Well, good morning, everyone. Last April, I was able to participate in my first marathon experience. And if you've never been a part of a large-scale race before, let me help to set the scene a little bit. This particular race was set in a large city, boasting of its great scenery along the path, so much so that it caught the eye of about 11,000 runners who spent months, if not years, training for that moment. And it involved hundreds of staff and volunteers who made sure the event was safe for all of its participants. On the day of, we were up very early in the brisk spring air, attempting to find our way to the starting queue and standing in really, really long lines for porta potties, unsure of where the next one was going to show up. Once we are in the lineup, you stand shoulder to shoulder, front to back with mostly strangers, all of whom are filled with the same slightly tense anxiety about what is to come, how long the run is going to last, what may happen along the way. Some try stretching, some are just trying to stay warm. There really isn't much room to move, let alone breathe. And you get to experience all of the blocked views, the smells, the claustrophobia that come with standing side to side with thousands of your newly made best friends. Now, there are a few places in this life where we choose to enter into like this, where we're all on the same level with one another. Races may be one, concerts or sporting events may be another, maybe even New Year's Eve in Times Square if you're lucky enough or brave enough to get there. But more often than not, we have a tendency to avoid large crowds without assigned seats. We choose to keep our distance and maintain our personal space. We tend to not care for this levelness with other humans because it often includes some inconveniences. We'd rather be up in that balcony looking down or sitting comfortably gazing upwards. It could also be said that we avoid this because we have a natural tendency to compete with one another, subconsciously avoiding those that we deem less than ourselves for various reasons, whether it's how someone looks or acts, where they're from, or their job, or any number of things. Or we attempt to be more like those that we look up to and aspire to, purchasing products because someone else has them, keeping up with the latest trends. We may even rank one another depending on how we see ourselves. Very rarely do we allow space for someone to be on the same level. Think about it. Why else would high school reunions be so stressful? I mean, we gather with people that we once knew at a different point in life. We worry about being perceived as not living up to our full potential, or we make sure to only show the best sides of ourselves, knowing that we aren't sharing the full story. Presenting the perfect life is far more common than finding connections with those who intimidate us, or with those who we think of as less than. So it's interesting to have this lens on as we hear about some of Jesus' first days in ministry, like in the gospel reading for today. As he's coming down the mountainside in his travels, he sees a great multitude of people from all walks of life, all backgrounds and nationalities, simply waiting for him, gathering close together, getting into each other's personal space. And as he gets closer to them, they inch closer and closer, filled with those needs that are too deep for words, desperate to maybe just touch him. Think about it. Thousands of people who normally wouldn't take up the same space, but who knew that there was something different about him. They somehow knew that after being in his presence, life wouldn't be the same, or at least that's what they hoped for. From the stories of what Jesus had been doing in that short amount of time, it was as though everywhere he went there was this bubble of blessings and healings that surrounded him. So they were all aspiring for that small taste of what that felt like, to be inside of that bubble, to receive something that would make their lives better. They so desperately wanted that feeling of wholeness and health that personal space didn't matter any longer, that differences got pushed aside, and Jesus became level with them, in the midst of their needs, with the sick and the diseased, with the grieving and the hungry, with the person who just wanted a miracle. And as the chosen Son of God, the power came forth from him, and he healed all of them. Now, there's no list of what made the cut and what didn't. There's no account of him asking questions to make sure that they deserved it. There wasn't even the sense that they had to prove that they were not well. Jesus simply walked among them, felt their need, and healed them. As he began to teach, he names the realities that he has been healing, proclaiming those realities as the blessings in which they were seeking. Blessed are you who are poor, hungry, who weep, are hated. Blessed are you when you are excluded and defamed. These would not have been things that would have been considered blessings in Jesus' day, nor are they things that we consider blessings today. They're shocking and possibly even the exact opposite of how we use the word blessed now. Over the last 10 years especially, how we view being blessed has become almost a full-fledged American phenomenon of sorts. We can see the word blessed on personalized license plates on BMWs. We can see it tattooed across biceps of reality TV stars. And it seems to be the only suitable caption for celebrities on exotic vacations or in spheres of influence, seeming as if that they're saying, I totally get it. I'm down to earth enough to know that this isn't normal, but don't blame me. I'm blessed. And celebrities aren't the only ones who use the word blessed in this way. Social media will show the hashtag blessed as something that we see quite frequently. I am fully guilty of using it far often than I probably need to. But we use it to show off those good moments in life. We show off the things that we're proud of, that we're excited for. And it's almost as if though we've replaced the word lucky in our society with the word blessed. As though it's divine will behind the moments that go above and beyond what is hoped for or expected. And it feeds that desire to want blessings to be something that we have to work towards. We like the certainty of doing specific things for specific outcomes. We like moving in a direction that doesn't keep us level with everyone else. Now, maybe this isn't just an American phenomenon, but a human one. Maybe Jesus understood that this is how the people then also perceived blessings, which may be why he needed to teach on this subject. I mean, we enjoy the good things in life, and maybe Jesus enjoyed them too in his time on earth. Maybe he also knew that when we humans see these good things in someone else's life, that we convince ourselves that it is because God is choosing that person for preferential treatment. I mean, that is the way we perceive it sometimes, isn't it? Jesus also knew that the journey of life, that the good things and human circumstances can also change very quickly. That certainty is not a guarantee. A good job can result in a layoff. Medical illnesses or accidents can shatter good health. Trials and temptations can collapse innocence and break relationships. And while it may seem strange to hear Jesus proclaiming, "Woe to those who are rich or full or who are laughing," as if those are entirely bad things, it is in those statements that he is acknowledging that the good things do not last. They're not like death and taxes, the only guarantees that we have in this life. So maybe what he is trying to say is, woe to you who believe that the good things are what it means to be loved by God. The good things in life are not signs of God's love and blessings. Real blessings, ones with divine power, remind us of our need for God. Those who are hungry and cry and feel alone, those were the issues that Jesus healed that day. Those were the very moments where God became level with them, taking away all sadness, shame, and despair. That is what a blessing is. It is seeing God and being seen by God for who you are in your very worst moments. Blessing is the love God shares with the brokenhearted. Blessing changes the lives of those who have no hope. Blessing says, "I see you, and you are everything to me." If you want to find God, the giver of blessings, your high school reunion or social media may not be the place to start. Don't look to those who seemingly have it made or those that try to keep up with the latest trends. Instead, break out of your comfort zone. Seek levelness. Look for those who are on the edge of acceptability. Look for those who have been changed by God's grace. Look for those who feel like they don't have anything else to lose and strive for something better. Being blessed is the moment that you realize that God is reaching out to you. You. Getting in your personal space and walking with you along life's journey. Amen.